Hey guys, I'm getting a lot of requests for a little video on adjusting trunk lids. The door adjustment video we did was really popular, so see if I can help you guys out with some of the trunk lid stuff. Um, this car has had this back panel and both quarter panels replaced. Now they're aftermarket panels, so they're not perfect, but they do require a little adjustments to make them correct. And some of the things you'll see is stuff like this line lines up and you're good here. And on this side, when the line lines up, the quarter panel is way low on the trunk lid. So those are some little things that you have to do to make some adjustments. Another common thing is right here. You can see how that's trunk lid is lower than the actual back panel. And then over here, the deck lid is higher than the quarter panel. I'm going to show you some ways around that. But I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about the adjustments. So just like the door, if you kind of look at the trunk lid with this X on it, it'll help you understand that what adjustments do in what area. Um, a lot of people don't seem to understand that this trunk lid hinge is slotted vertically up and down. So you're basically the only adjustment you have on a trunk lid is forward and backward, which will bring it in or out. So your number one adjustment that you want to start with is making the gap across the back of the deck lid perfectly even. So let's say that this side was a little tight and you needed to bring it forward. So when you loosen that hinge and you bring it forward, you have to understand that bringing that forward transfers this corner that way, which will bring it over to make this gap tighter. Same with here. You bring this one forward, it will drive this into the quarter panel, making that gap larger. So understanding that this movement will move into the sides of the quarters if you're not careful. So now that you understand the movements, we'll go a little further with it. Let's say um, the deck lid is touching on the top of the back panel, but your hinge is loose and it's all the way out, and there's just no way to get any more adjustment out of it, which commonly happens, especially in cars that have been hit behind. So these hinges have a tendency to bend at times. So one of the things you can do to open that gap is you place a board underneath the hinge right here, and you just kind of gently pull down, and it will open some of that radius, which will bring the trunk lid back towards you and give you some gap. On the same token, you have no more adjustment to go forward, and you have a huge gap. You can take the deck lid and push upward and collapse that radius on the hinge, and that will also give you a good method of, getting your gap here if your bolts are no longer adjustable. Another common problem is you got a beautiful gap up here and you're happy with it. You got a beautiful gap over here, or say over here. Let's say this gap is perfect, but this side is huge, really big. You got a huge gap. The deck lid's over that way. So you can either loosen the hinges, just a hair, or you can just come to the side that has the tight gap and give it a push. And it will take those hinges and it will bend them over ever so slightly, and that will repair that gap. It'll give you an even gap. So you can do that, to even up the gaps as far as side to side, because there is no adjustment to go that way either way. Um, Another thing you have to look at, like this panel, I don't know if the panel's put in the wrong spot, if the deck lid had a arch to them, but it's a common issue. So we need to bring this panel down a little bit. A good method of doing that is to place a little wood block right there in the jamb, and you pull this lid down and just give it ever so slightly a tug. You don't have to go crazy. And connected where it belongs, and now we no longer have a problem. We've repaired that. Okay, the other issue was over here we had it high, so sometimes you can take a wood block. Let's do this one. Let's take a little wood block, place it inside there, and you got to give this just a little bit of a massage. A long length board there. Let's see what we did. Okay. Now you can see we're right back to where we need to be. Got everything up. We're nice. Now, it doesn't always work to get it exactly where you need it. Okay? But it usually gets you pretty close. Sometimes it does require a little filler to compensate for the lines. But that'll give you the basics. And that's more or less, on a vehicle that you haven't painted yet. I have done this on a painted vehicle by wrapping the board with a piece of carpet, and you just carefully tap it. Sometimes you can get away with it, but know that there's a possibility you're going to do damage to the hood if it's painted. So hopefully that will answer your questions. If I didn't cover something and you still have a question about it, leave it in the comments below, and I'll try and cover it. But I think this should pretty much get you where you need to go. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and like. Maybe leave a little comment. It helps us with the algorithms on YouTube. And meanwhile, hope this helps you, and we'll talk to you again.